Okay, here we are finishing up putting in the needle bearings for the center main bearing. And it's got 2 rows, as you can see here. And I'm putting the last few in around the back side. And if you think one more will go in, it usually will. But we have a way to test that. Make sure we have the right amount in each. And you'll see in just a minute, as soon as I finish doing the top, getting the last few in the top row of needle bearings. Okay, I've got them all what I feel is close. And here's the center main bearing. And I'm going to break it apart. Not break it, but again, here's the cracked outer shell. It is cracked. So it only fits one way, and it's one of a kind. They're made as a hole, and then they have little dividing lines. I actually watched at the factory back in the old days cracking these things, and they have a little slot, and they whack them with a machine, and it cracks it. And so they only fit together one way. So what we're going to do is put this on, and you know it's right, and you've got these the groove for the spring that holds it on, the clip. So what I do is I start a little bit one side of the clip, so I get it on both sides. I get the clip on both sides. All right, there we go. We got it. Okay, so we don't have too many in there, or we wouldn't have been able to get it together. So what I do is I take a screwdriver and I rotate it to a crack, one of the cracks you can just barely see, and I take my screwdriver, a small screwdriver, and I wedge it, and if the crack opens up, it means that I've got enough bearings in there. And the same thing happened at the top. So I've opened that crack just with jamming the blade, just the blade, the thickness of the blade is enough to make the crack open up. It means that I've got the proper number of bearings. Now the outer shell, again, has a top, not quite as critical, but I definitely would make sure you do it because it's got a little bit different passage for oil and residual oil and stuff to dribble down. So you want to make sure those are top. There's a hole in this solid bearing shell, and there's a pin that sticks out right here, and you want to find that hole, rotate back and forth until you feel it fall in. There, it just did. And now I'll make sure that I've got it top. It says top, we're good. So you can only put it together one way, so I know this part is right. And again, we'll put screws in with the appropriate Loctited. If you can't get brand new ones, Loctite will hopefully suffice. Not recommended again, but I've done it before and gotten away with it, so since this is mine, I'll do it again. The reason I replaced all the bearings in here is because when I took this apart, there was some signs of water having been on those bearings, and they had some stain. And since I can't really see, where the marks are on the bearings, it's a hell of a lot cheaper as far as I'm concerned to just replace them. So that's what I did. Alrighty. Okay, we got a couple more things to do before we get ready to set it up to put it into the block. You can see there's quite a large gap in there. That's why we do not tighten up the other side. You could really severely misalign stuff or bend a bolt or any number of not good things. Go back and forth on it a couple of times, at least 3 times, I say. So you can't move it anymore. Right, so there we are. Except for oil. We did oil this bottom one. On these pistons, I like to lubricate the upper needle bearings with some 2-stroke oil, and the rest of it, the connecting rod has got its own lubricant. And I also like to do the rings before I put the ring compressors on. So these pistons, some of them are scuffed. They're usable. Take a little point file and you can put the new bevel on it, clean them up, just make sure the rings spin very freely. And as I say, these are done so that the new ring is on top and 2 used ones are below. In this case, 1 new one, 1 used one.